What you're about to see is me explaining how I have used AI to create the rest of this YouTube video, which is basically two people talking about the concept of selling and how that has changed over the years and how a business can utilize AI and changing the way that selling is done and retain the human aspects of building relationships with customers. My name's Steve Sandor. I am the CEO of Inspiring Business, and I don't do this. This is not my business. My business is helping business owners who are approaching their exit and looking at how we can use technology to improve the efficiency, the systems and processes within the organization, create an opportunity for the business owner to do the things that they love to do, and allow people within the organization to deliver the results that the organization needs to deliver. We use technology to do that, but I'm also very conscious of the fact that a lot of the time technology is overused. It's designed to help a business, not to replace the business. And I think a lot of business owners get caught up in this efficiency aspect of it, and AI is either they're scared of it and they're not going to use it because they don't understand it, or they overuse it and their staff get concerned because the staff think that they're going to be replaced. When in fact there's a nice little balance there. Most businesses know that they and their staff are working at probably 100, if not 120% capacity. There's massive burnout at all levels. And so AI, what it can do, or technology and AI, what it can do is it can replace a lot of the churn work that's done and reduce the amount of time and effort needed. So the whole creation of what you're about to hear took me about 45 minutes. And I'm showing it to you not because I have anything to sell you in the AI space. I don't. Hopefully, what you'll be able to see and experience is that it's not that difficult to utilize the tool to achieve the things that you want to achieve in a relatively short period of time. Now, as a business owner, you don't need to know this, but you need to know that it's available. In fact, I would highly recommend that you not fall down this rabbit hole unless it's of a specific reason for you to do that in the running of your business. You need to understand it, but you don't need to be good at it. And I'm certainly not good at it. So let me take you through this. So hopefully you can see my screen here. So this is a product called, the platform is Abacus.ai. It's colloquially known as ChatLLM. It's a paid product. I pay about $10 US a month for this. But basically what it does is it has something like 17 different AI tools attached to it. So you can see here the type of products that are there. But if you use the route LLM, it will, based on your prompt, it'll find the best or most appropriate AI tool to use. So what I did was I originally thought this was going to be a LinkedIn post. So I said, write a LinkedIn post on the concept that selling is perceived to be difficult and is an unwanted activity by most people who hate being sold to. Reframe the concept of selling as one of listening, helping to solve a problem and helping the buyer to understand how your product might solve the problem. Approaching the sale with the attitude that there is no attachment to the outcome and the only thing on your mind is to help the person to solve the problem. So that's my ethos, if you like, in terms of selling. And it came up with a pretty good article here. And I went, okay, great. Now, can you do some research on the origins of selling and when did it become a negative part of the business transaction? Because I was really interested in when did it become, a dirty word. So what it did was it came up with the origins of selling and its negative perspective, and it said the early history, when selling became negative, the efforts to reframe selling, IBM in the 20s and consultative selling in the 80s. And I said, great. Can you rewrite the original article and introduce a common perception of selling and how the introduction of social media has changed the advertising and marketing landscape, which has forced people to change the way selling exists? Comment on how social platforms have impacted the engagement of the traditional non-online sales process. So we all know that back in the pre-internet days, the number of touch points that you had through phone calls, advertising, mail drops, etc., was somewhere around 7 to 9. There is data out now that with the advent of technology and emails and LinkedIn posts and TikTok messaging and all that sort of stuff, the digital noise is causing people to feel overwhelmed by it all. And so if you can get through to somebody using the digital space, it takes somewhere up to 20 interactions with them before they actually trust you. They might even just ignore it totally because they're just overwhelmed by it. So that was the basis on which I created that prompt. So it's come up with a pretty good article. Took a little bit further. It says, the common perceptions of selling, how social media transformed the sales landscape, the ripple effect of traditional sales. So what we got to was a point where we're going, okay, great. Here's the impact of social media on how selling is done. So I've said, this is really good. Can you rewrite the article and insert between the how social media transformed and the ripple effect, the introduction of AI, or how the introduction of AI will again change the landscape of marketing, advertising, customer service, and customer experience. And how, with the use of AI, will it be hard to differentiate between real and AI-generated content? We see it today. There are videos of people, you can tell that they're AI-generated, but that's going to improve incredibly over the next 12 months, and you won't be able to tell. You could be looking at me, and you can't tell whether it's me or an AI-generated me. That's where we're heading with this. And to discuss how business can use relationship building and AI as a way of differentiating themselves. My view is that what's going to happen is that there's going to be a blowback on AI, and businesses that have the ability to introduce inefficient building relationships, human to human relationships, will actually benefit from that process or way of dealing with their customers. And so what it did was it created this fantastic article, and I can't fault it. It's really, really well written. And what I did was I then turned that into a PDF document. And this here is Notebook LM. It's a free Google tool. I've got the Plus because I've got a G Suite account, and so it gives you a little bit more functionality. To be honest, I have no idea what that is, but what I did was I added the two sources in, which was the PDF that was written by ChatLLM, and an ebook that I've written on stewardship. And stewardship is basically looking at managing differently in the 21st century. And what I asked it to do was, based on the information that's been provided for it to create a podcast or a voice-generated recording to discuss the document, the information inside the selling document, and then how the stewardship document, how you could apply some of the lessons in it to the concept of selling in the context of digital and AI. And what you're about to hear is the result of that analysis and the discussion. And there are two people talking about it. And I think it's really, really good. It brings it all together in a very concise way. Now, what I haven't done is I haven't tried to hide the fact that it's Notebook LM, and I could put different voices over the top of it so that it doesn't sound like that, but this is not the point of this. The point is that AI, if you don't have some technology and AI in your business in the next 2 to 3 years, you will be left behind. So it's a bit like in 2000 when websites first came on the scene. Everybody said, I'm not going to spend $3,000 on a static single page. And here we are some 20 years later, and everybody's got a website and it costs you next to nothing to develop. So that's where we're heading. But if you're looking at exiting your business over the next 3 to 5 years and you don't have technology at the core and the foundation of what it is that you're doing, even if you're not an online business, then your business is not going to be as valuable to be able to sell to the potential buyer, who is someone who is of a younger generation, who's looking for an enterprise, not a job. And I've got a whole bunch of other articles on and information on that. So it's a tool that is usable by your team. As a business owner, you need to be aware of this, but you don't need to know how to do it. And in fact, what I would suggest that you do is, even getting down this rabbit hole, it's great that you're interested in it, but resist the temptation of actually using it for using it in the business, unless it is a critical part of the role that you have inside your business. Invest in the training and development of your team to be able to successfully utilize this and be strategic in that direction. And if you need help in how to do that, I'd love to have a conversation with you, because that's the whole point of this information here. So I hope you enjoy what's to come. And if you need more information, please contact us. There'll be information in the notes below where you can get in contact with us.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a stack of your sources and we pull out the most interesting stuff for you. Today we're going to be diving into the world of selling. I mean, it's a topic that's basically been around as long as humans have, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. From bartering for basic necessities to now navigating these huge digital marketplaces. It's a practice that has always kind of been evolving and changing with the times.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys give us some really fascinating material to kind of dig into for this deep dive. We have the Selling in the New Age PDF, which traces the whole evolution of selling. And then we have Stewardship and what it means for a 21st century business, which is more about like a holistic vision for businesses, in the modern world.
I think it's going to be really cool to bring those two together. Two very different perspectives, but I think, we can kind of weave them together to get a much deeper understanding of, where selling has come from and where it might be going.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's start with the basics. Bartering, way back when. That's how it all started, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Selling in the New Age PDF highlights how bartering was like the OG foundation of early economies. And it was really all about a direct exchange. I have something you need, you have something I need. Boom, we make a deal.
Right. Like, I feel like that must have been built on such a high level of trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're relying on each other to assess the value, the quality of the goods.
Yeah.
There's like no outside authority regulating the whole exchange.
That's a really interesting point. And I wonder if maybe some of that trust, the, direct personal connection got maybe a little bit eroded when money started coming into the picture.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, money changed everything. Suddenly you don't have to have like that perfect barter match, You've got this like universal medium of exchange.
Yeah, and as the Selling in the New Age source points out, that kind of shift really formalized the whole idea of selling as a profession. We went from these like casual exchanges to like structured systems,
Yeah.
market dynamics, and ultimately strategies for maximizing profit.
Right, yeah. And you could say it created this distance between the buyer and the seller. It's not about that direct relationship anymore. It's about the transaction.
And fast forward to today, that distance has been like totally amplified by technology, especially social media.
Oh, yeah, huge. Social media has like totally turned the traditional marketing and advertising world upside down. All of a sudden, businesses have this like direct line to consumers, and consumers have access to this crazy amount of information.
Yeah. The source calls it unprecedented transparency for consumers. Think about it, You have online reviews, product comparisons, influencer endorsements. Buyers are way more informed than they ever have been before.
It's interesting, though, because you'd think that this like flood of information would make selling easier. But in a lot of ways, it's actually made it harder, eroded that trust even more.
Exactly. Selling in the New Age talks about how consumers have gotten so good at filtering out all the marketing noise, like they're bombarded with messages all the time, and they're skeptical of traditional advertising. To build a genuine relationship in that kind of environment, that's a huge challenge.
So where do we go from here? I mean, AI is the next big disruptor in selling, right? Is it going to help us like bridge that trust gap or make it even bigger?
That's the million-dollar question, right? On the one hand, AI has incredible potential for personalization. The source highlights how AI can analyze, massive amounts of data to tailor product recommendations, predict consumer behavior, and create these super targeted marketing campaigns.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds amazing, right? Like AI could be
Yeah.
the key to creating those personalized, authentic experiences that people really crave. But can it really replicate that genuine human connection?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The more AI starts to feel like a human interaction, the more ethical questions pop up. How do we use it responsibly? How do we stay transparent when these algorithms are making decisions about what consumers see and experience?
And that's where I think this stewardship article comes in. It's all about moving past a purely like profit-driven mindset and taking more of a holistic approach to business, right? Maybe that's how we figure out how to navigate this new age of selling where technology is just so intertwined with human interaction.
I think you're right. Stewardship really emphasizes these big values like integrity, transparency, long-term thinking, and these are principles that can guide businesses as they kind of figure out how to integrate AI and still strive to build genuine connections with customers. It just occurred to me as we were talking about, all the technology that we're kind of wrestling with some of the same things that popped up when like bartering went away and money became the main thing, like trust and being genuine. It's like we're repeating history a bit.
Oh, yeah, I totally see that. Like with bartering, it was all face-to-face, There was that built-in accountability because you knew who you were dealing with. But as selling became more complex, that connection went away.
Right. And AI is making us face that again in a way. Like algorithms are calling the shots, shaping what we see online, and it feels impersonal, kind of opaque.
So how do we bring back that human element when so much of selling is getting automated? The stewardship piece seems to be saying that companies need a whole new way of thinking.
Definitely. It's about shifting from just thinking about the transaction to thinking about relationships. Instead of just trying to close deals, companies need to build trust, make people want to keep coming back, and really show that they care about how their customers are doing.
It's like seeing your customers as partners, not just people who buy things.
Precisely. Stewardship is about thinking about how your business impacts everyone, not just the bottom line. Employees, customers, the community, the environment. It's about creating value that goes way beyond just profit.
Okay, but how do you actually put that into action? It's easy to talk about values, but how do businesses actually do stewardship?
Well, the article has some real suggestions. One thing is being transparent and communicating openly. That could be like being upfront about your pricing, how you get your products, even like challenges and setbacks your company has.
So like admitting you're not perfect and talking honestly with your customer.
Exactly. And that goes with another key idea of stewardship, which is being accountable, taking responsibility, listening to feedback, and always trying to improve.
It's like bringing back that accountability thing that bartering had. If you didn't have good stuff, people knew, and your reputation was on the line.
That's a good way to put it. And these days, online, your reputation can be made or broken so fast. Social media has given everyone a voice, and companies can't ignore what people are saying or act like they're in a bubble.
So it sounds like stewardship isn't just the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do. If you want to be successful over time, you have to build trust and have real relationships with your customers.
I totally agree. And honestly, I think AI can help with this. We shouldn't see it as replacing human connection. We should use it to make those connections better.
Now, that's interesting. I want to hear more. How can AI help businesses be better stewards?
Well, think about using AI to personalize customer service, to give people advice and support that's tailored to them, or using it to find and fix ethical issues with your suppliers.
So it's not about getting rid of people. It's about giving them tools to provide better service.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance where technology and human skills work together. And I think stewardship lays out a really helpful way to think about how to do that.
It's about using technology to make us better, not to replace us.
Exactly. And that's important for business leaders to remember as the whole landscape of selling keeps changing so quickly.
And the Selling in the New Age source, it suggests that this move towards stewardship isn't just a nice idea, it's becoming something businesses have to do. Consumers are picking companies that have values they agree with.
That's such a good point. In a way, it's like consumers are becoming like those old barterers again. They want to do business with people they trust, who share their values, who are trying to do something good in the world, not just make money.
Like it's coming full circle, but in a 21st century way.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's a really cool thing. It shows that people are being more mindful about what they buy and using their choices to make a difference.
So for businesses, stewardship isn't just about being ethical. It's about paying attention to what consumers want now.
Absolutely. The businesses that will be successful going forward are the ones that really live their values, not just talk about them.
All right, so we've talked about a lot. You know how selling has changed over time, the whole AI thing and this idea of stewardship.
Yeah, and it really seems like selling is kind of at a crossroads right now with technology changing so fast, what customers expect, and maybe even people wanting to go back to basics with trust and authenticity.
So let's wrap this up. Like if you're running a business today, what are the key things you should be taking away from all this? Where do you even begin to deal with all of this change?
Both of the sources actually give us some really good guidance. Selling in the New Age, it stresses how crucial it is to really get your customer, their needs, their values, what their pain points are.
It's not just about pushing your product.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out solutions that actually make people's lives better. And to do that, you have to listen, understand where they're coming from, and build those real connections we've been talking about.
Exactly. And stewardship takes it even further. It's saying businesses should think about how they affect the world beyond just making a profit. What are you doing for your employees, your customers, your community, even the environment?
It's a lot to think about. But it sounds like if you can bring all of that together, you're going to be way more successful in the long run.
I think so. It all starts with asking yourself some basic questions, like, what's the real purpose of your company? What values are behind your decisions? How are you helping everyone who's involved with your business?
It's about actually living those values, not just using them for marketing.
Definitely. And AI can actually be really helpful here, like using it to track your company's environmental impact, to analyze what customers are saying and see where you can improve, to personalize how you communicate and make those relationships stronger.
So instead of thinking AI is going to take away human connection, we can use it to make those connections better.
Precisely. It's about hitting that sweet spot where tech and human values work together to create a better future for everyone.
Well, for anyone listening out there, whether you own a business or you're just trying to figure out this whole consumer world, we hope this deep dive has given you some things to think about.
At the end of the day, selling is about connecting with other people, understanding what they need, and offering them solutions that are valuable. And to do that today, you have to be real, you have to be transparent, and you have to recognize how connected everything is.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So until next time, keep diving deep and keep looking for those real connections that make life and business so much better.